Hey guys, it's Nancy Matz Friday, and she is coming on to do some readings for the folks in the audience. Make sure you have your one question ready, and the topic is, drumroll, the topic is messages from your deceased loved ones. See you in about 5 minutes. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday to all of you. It's Aloha Friday. It's Casual Friday here on California Haunts Radio. And that means... push my buttons. No, it means I gotta push my buttons. But it also means that medium Nancy Matz is in the house with us. And let me get adjusted here. I moved everything the other day and still trying to find my way. Uh-oh, we lost her. She was in the house with us. Anyway, there she goes. She's coming back. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. And I am also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state of California. That means if you have a paranormal issue going on in your house, or you think you have a paranormal issue going on in your house, we can get to you because we are in almost every county in the state. And if we're not in your county, we can get to you. Don't worry about it. All right? I'll make a quick announcement today, too, is that tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific, I will be teaching a psychic development class level 1. And what that entails is if you think you might have psychic abilities, or maybe you do and you've been trying them out and things haven't been going so well, this is the class for you. I teach you how to ground yourself, protection techniques. I teach you how to open that psychic door and close it. That's really important, you know, because even, you know, if you sometimes most new psychics, when they open the psychic door, they open it really wide. And the problem is, once you open that door, not just the nice stuff's going to come through, all right? There's going to be negativity that comes through that door. I train you to go out of body and be able to pull back in right away and shut the door so the stuff doesn't come at you, okay? I also will take you to meet your spirit guide. I'll take you to meet your spirit animal. We visit your spirit library. And there's always a little note left for you from your spirit guide in that room. So that's what we're going to cover tomorrow. And I also work on like different versions of being psychic. We might work with some ESP and some smell sensing, you know, sensory stuff and things like that tomorrow. All right. So I will see anybody tomorrow that signs up. It would be great. And you can do that over at CaliforniaHauntsMeetup.com. All right. Check out meetup.com. Okay. Well, like I said earlier, today is Casual Friday, and that means medium Nancy Matz is with us. And it kind of leads out to last week, because last week we were talking about, I hate when things are hanging on me, look at that. Last week we were talking about messages from your deceased relatives, essentially messages from the dead, and how helpful they can be at times, or warnings or something, you know. But we were talking about that last week, and I gave some examples of what had happened with my heart failure with my father, and how he had contacted me. And I didn't realize it was about that until after I ended up getting diagnosed, and then I knew, boom, that's what he was trying to contact me. And he tried several ways to contact me. Tonight, Nancy's going to be doing some readings for you guys, and you have to have one question only, because it's usually there's a lineup of you guys. We want to get to everybody. And I was thinking, like last week I made the announcement that we could do this in a messages from the dead kind of thing. You know, is there somebody around me that has a message for me? Something like that, you know, just to see if somebody wants to, say hi or whatever they want to say, right, to you. So that's what I was hoping to do. So if we do this, nicely and play nice, because we want to play nice here. This is a fun place to be. This is a safe atmosphere in here. We don't want any negativity. No trolls allowed. I'll boot you out right away. It may take me a few minutes to find the right button, but you will be gone. So we're not allowing trolls in here tonight or anything like that. But you're allowed one question of Nancy, and that's it. And she'll probably give you about 2 to 3 minutes of that, because we have a lot of people coming through. Okay? So let me get Nancy on, and Nancy and I can just chit-chat for a few minutes, and then we'll start this stuff, all right?
Hello.
Hello.
Good Friday. Happy Friday, everybody.
It's finally here. It's Friday.
There's a couple things. When people ask any questions of messages, I will, if I'm able to, I'm going to describe what the person looks like first off, because sometimes it's not always who we want it to be. But then sometimes I had a lady say to me, I want to hear from so-and-so. And, I'm going to tell you who I'm seeing versus what you want to hear. I'm not going to just, it's grandma, grandpa. Of course it is. Dad, mom. Because if it doesn't fit my description, unless they give a really personal identification.
Right.
And what I have found over time is don't have expectations, because sometimes the person shows up as who it's supposed to be. As with Shar, she eats popcorn every night, but then she got a ticket to go to the show. I think you already said this. And Dad said, popcorn, popcorn. Well, what we didn't know was that at the movie, they salted it too much. She was getting a warning, not an enjoyment. So sometimes the message is to come. So I want to make sure that that's understood. And it can be really, sometimes it's kind of touching. I'm dealing with a lady whose son died of an accident. And sometimes the messages are kind of obscure, like who greeted him. It just, I love this. I want you to know that this is who I am. I do this. No magic in this. It's just something like 32 years every day. You better be good at this. Like if you play the piano in 32 years, you better do Mozart. I mean, really, right?
Right.
Practice makes perfect. I started out Spirit of Grace Church for 15 years every Friday night and during the week sometimes. So with the best intention, I always try to help you. If you don't get it, write it down. I am not responsible. I just do what I do, and that's all, everybody. And I do have fun with this. Shar and I have had a lot of fun with these Friday nights, and it's very casual. Oh, I got another color on. I had a few of these. It's the Hawaiian print.
See, it's all aloha tonight.
Yeah, aloha. hello. I'm trying to be cool, and it's warm. And one more thing. We are. So escrow is supposed to close on the 15th, but the new owners want to move in on hopefully the 1st. It really put a crunch on me. I'm having people show up next 2 days. So I am moving. Give me a little leeway. I had to push a lady out who wanted to talk this week sometime, and pushed out to Tuesday. So it's going to be patient. Write me a note if you want it sooner, and I'll see what I can do. But in the midst of a move, it's like I had to stop an hour ago just to put my mind in a place where we could talk tonight. So it takes a lot of time to kind of balance yourself. All right, sweetie.
I had a scary moment outside today.
What?
I was outside. See, guys, I'm into lighting effects, and especially in my yard.
Oh yeah.
And you don't listen. You don't really talk about snow blindness and stuff like that. You don't think about that. And I use a tarp to create a fake pond in my backyard.
Right.
And the tarp is white.
Oh.
So I'm out there working in the sun, right? This whole time trying to get covered. I go in my house. And you know how when you walk in your house and it's kind of dark anyway because you've been outside? This was twice as dark.
And the furniture you tripped over was which one?
It scared the hell out of me because it was really, really dark. And I thought, God, am I having a stroke? And I go to sit down on the couch and I'm looking around and I'm like, is it never going to fix? So after about 4 minutes, it came out. It came back to normal.
Oh gosh!
I was trying all these things are running through my head because it's like 3 times as dark as it normally is when you come from the outside to the inside. And then it dawned on me that it's because I was working with that really white thing and I was staring at it the whole time.
Oh, that's really hard. I thought you were telling me you tripped over a dog or freeze furniture. No,
it's just when I walked in. The second I got into the eave to open the back door, everything got darker, and then it got progressively darker and darker. It was scary.
Yeah.
But then it came up, and that's the only thing I can figure is I don't think I had a stroke. So the only thing I can figure is that because I was out working over that white thing, my eyes reacted. Like when people are out in the bright snow.
Yeah.
So wow. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of that.
Life carries on. My moving and you're working in the yard. It's just
it's coming together nicely though.
All right.
Okay. So, if anybody, now, here's how we're going to start this. If anybody would like a reading, like I said, 2 to 3 minutes of reading, but one question, and you got to be patient with me because the way the questions come up, they're on one stream only, kind of like what you guys are looking at in the chat room. That's what comes up. So, as you come up, as a question comes up,
isn't it?
Huh?
You're seeing the same stream, aren't you?
Yeah. Uh-huh. But as the questions come up, you'll ask your question. Nancy will answer it. Maybe, and if you decide to write an answer to Nancy, it's not going to come up right away. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, I can't see it. Nor can I see you say, Nancy, answer me, ask me. I want to ask you a question on the side. You have to be patient. You're answering online. Don't do that.
She'll answer the first person, and then she'll probably move on to the second person. And then by the time she's done with the second person, you'll have typed in. So then I have to go back to you. So you have to be very patient.
Or type it up a couple times.
Yeah, with the way we're doing this, okay? Because that's just how it comes up. I can't control how it comes up in the chat room. Okay? So if anybody wants to start, go ahead and type a question. Let me enlarge here. Okay. Nobody wants to start?
Well, let's talk about something.
Okay, let's start. Marisa.
So bashful.
Hold it, we got one. Marisa, what's your question? Where'd they all go? Come on, I know you're there. Don't be bashful. We do this every other Friday.
And the same people seem to want to get in the chat room. So if you're in Facebook, Shar, tell them how to get over to you so they can get in the chat room.
Well, my Facebook page has the Facebook. You can click on that. It'll take you into the room here, and then you can click in the chat room. Just like if you're on California Haunts Ghostly Events, you can get their California Haunts radio page, both the California Haunts pages. You can get
so they can get on this. They can get on this.
All you have to do is write down the question. We're going for one question tonight, and here we go. Jill wants to know, do you have anything for me?
I didn't hear her name.
Jill.
Jill?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a small woman that's saying next to you she was bony as she got older. She shows me her hands as this, but really bony, like she lost weight, little tiny shoulders. I don't think she was very tall. She wants me to think she had wavy or curly hair. It's not straight. Maybe it was a grade that was wiry looking. Mm-hmm. She says I was tough, but everybody loved to hug me. She wanted to be known as sweet, but she wasn't necessarily. She is watching your progress. She admires you. These people. Even though she wasn't small, she might not have had little feet. What is that? Do you recognize her, Jill?
Okay. Next question is, okay, Marisa, we'll talk about the other part later. However, her other question, she has two questions, but the first one, I'll talk to you later, Nancy.
Okay.
But the other one is my brother still around? That's her question.
Yes, he is still around. I guess I would like to ask you, how do I word this? He's antagonistic right now. And so if you feel that way, I want you to tell him to go away. He can come around if he's nice to you. It's not like he's not nice, but he's making demands on you. And I can't hear him very well. It's like he's talking quick and pacing the floor. Oh, what is that about? Don't say his name out loud, Char. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He wants you to do something or talk to somebody. As though, hurry up and talk to them. Let's do this. Let's do that. Do you smell him?
What are you saying?
Is there a smell coming into the house? Are you smelling him? Seems to be a smell with him, and I'm going, well, what is that? What are you smelling? Is she answering?
She's just wondering what demands he's making.
What's that?
What the demands are. That's what she's asking.
Me too. I only see the gesturing. I'm seeing like, it's like he's not a ghost. He's not stuck yet. My definition of ghost is a spirit that chose not to go anywhere or do anything about it. He's just haunting. This man's not haunting. He's in action. Like he's trying to get something done. Doesn't tell me anything. Just his actions, like he's yelling. It seems like if you were doing in your life, all of a sudden you go, oh, that's him. Tell him to go away until it calms down. If you get depressed really quick, because he seems like he's unsettled. Feels like he had an argument with somebody before he died and there was unfinished business. I can't tell you what that means. Maybe a sandy-haired guy. What was Shar, do you know what coloring this man was? Was he dark?
No.
Was he blonde man?
He's gray-haired.
He was gray-haired?
Kind of white-haired.
Looking at it, looks like a blonder man.
Okay.
I could probably sort it out a little later. I don't want to spend a lot of time with this.
Yeah.
Unfinished business. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It feels
Kate,
like the other might have lighter hair with blue eyes,
okay.
tall, lanky looking. So I don't know if Marissa would know who that is.
Okay. All right. Kate wants to know if you have anything for her, please.
She wants a personal message. She wants to know who's around her.
I guess either way. No clarification.
I can't hear. There's a man that stands next to her. He's had dark hair in his youth. I don't know if he's presenting himself to be heavy hair, dark, as if he was younger looking. He's not letting me see. My feeling is he might have some gray going through it. And Jill. The thing I'm picking up is money. So I don't know if he's trying to help you with money or save money or work with money. There's some kind of money thing going on. If you're going to get a better job, you're going to get more money. Seems like he's involved with your progress. I wish we could get a better quick answer versus typing in. And first thing I heard was money, but then I saw the man. So I'm not sure if it's related, or did she get money from somebody who went to spirit? I can't tell. He's a nice looking man. He was a bigger man, but I don't know if it's a father figure or a grandfather figure. Feels like this relative. See if she knows who it is.
Okay. Michael wants to know who moved the candy box in his apartment.
The candy box?
Mm-hmm.
When did this happen? How recent?
He says it lifted up and moved about 4 feet across the room.
Was it low, like a youth, a child? Feels like it could have been a young person. What?
Okay.
What did he say?
Yeah, he says, I just want to know how that kind of thing can happen.
This is not a threat. This is not someone that's going to hurt you. It feels like a youth. I can't tell if it's a boy or girl, but it's not an adult or a teenager. It's younger. And it's almost like they're moving the jar around to get your attention. Like, oh, I'm here. Pay attention to me. I would certainly invite a name, sit in a big chair, just be relaxed and say, I saw that. Are you trying to tell me you're here? And be happy, because I don't think this person's a bad or unhappy person.
Yeah, he says it happened 6 months ago, and it was on the counter. So, okay.
I'm surprised he's not saying it's happened before or since, because I get more movement just one time.
Michael, have you had anything else happen in your house?
Did you have something move around in your closet? Like a hall closet or someplace? It seems like you've lost, there was something misplaced and it wasn't you that did it. This feedback's a little hard. Got 2 or 3 people answering my question.
I'm watching them. It's cool. It's just things coming in slow today is all.
Oh, we can always find something to talk about.
Oh, yeah. We got lots to talk about. But if you guys want to confirm anything that Nancy has said, that's fine too. I mean,
let me
no one's going to know it's you except the people. Huh?
It's nice to know so I can read off of it more.
Yeah.
And
he says nothing has moved around the apartment at all.
What about a closet? It looks like a dark space. Check and see if things have moved in the closet if you can remember. I don't know why I want to pick it up. Or is that where the person came in? Was there a remodel or something? I'm not getting a bad feeling. Oops.
Okay. Jill's back. She wants to know if the money thing was for her.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he would not be talking about it if it was for him.
There you go. Hey, we have fun. It's Friday night. We have fun. We have fun talking to dead people.
One of my favorite topics.
So if there's anybody else out there that would like to know. Okay, Michael says nope.
Michael said what?
He says nope. Nothing in the dark.
So remember, I'm looking at it. I'm seeing something happen. So pay attention. Maybe we're telling her, him. It's interesting. I said her first. I'm going to stay with that. Could have been a girl. So maybe I don't want you to get woo-woo on me in the closet. But I don't get a bad feeling. Hey. Friday stay in the closet. I don't like that. But I am looking at a place that's dark, like a closet door. It opens up and it's dark in there. So pay attention.
This is a PG show. Come on.
I didn't say anything wrong.
Okay.
I just want someone to think I'm predicting spooky stuff. I'm not. Most of the people I talk to, I would say 90% of the people are pretty decent.
Jill's question real quick. I gotta see something. Hang on, Jill. I'm gonna check it out. Okay. Hang on, Jill. Let me go back and check this out. Okay. Let's see. It gets confusing when we're feeding these things through. Just bear with me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where she came in through. Yeah, because she seems to think the man was somebody else's question.
I'm sorry?
She seems to think the man was an answer to somebody else's question.
I can't follow that. I don't know.
Okay.
See, when you say the name and give me the question, I hook right in. Then when you come back and say, well, I can't tell. I only talk to one person at a time because I forget so fast what I say. So
Okay.
like the popcorn for her, it's only reference I make really quick here. I wouldn't be able to pick up something for somebody else talking to you.
Oh, Marisa says her brother had green eyes and medium brown hair before the gray.
Medium to light brown. Then I'm looking at him as his memory of himself, because I'm looking at him.
He's getting younger.
Or he's anxious. Yeah, I didn't know what he looked like. That's not who I was originally looking at. You know, sometimes spirit people can remember what they look like, and then they lose track of time. But I am picking up he had a disagreement with somebody who was also light with blue eyes, and like a natural blonde would be. So it's very possible we're looking at two different answers.
Okay.
Gray hair was not really what I picked up. Kind of like a sandy blonde.
Oh yeah. Kate says she wants to know if there's any spirits around her because as I go down, it says my wardrobe fell down a couple of weeks ago.
What was her first name? What was her first name? I'd be curious what that meant. Wardrobe, like in a rack or something? Was it heavy on one side? Or?
Like all the clothes inside, yeah. That the clothes fell.
I think someone tipped it over. It feels like it fell versus broken, like it was leaning and someone just went, oh, this looks fun. And that happens a lot. Almost like there's too many clothes to fall over one at a time, or it's like one piece come out, oh yeah, spirit, but not necessarily. You could have had it up there at crooked or something, but it feels like there was more. And I feel like someone pushed it, but I don't know how it stood in the room. It feels like an older woman trying to get your attention. Medium is smaller build, but she was medium boned and just a little less, so she looks thinner, darker hair, kind of a harsh looking face. You know, if you have certain bone structure like American Indian, my eyes American Indian, I can have a harsh look, but it's not just bones. Bones. So she had a kind of a square head, thin lady. I don't know if you recognize her. I don't know what era she died. She's trying to get someone's. I can just tell you what I'm seeing. I don't know what it means.
And then Michael was wondering if his friend Salema is around.
Salima? Is that a woman or a man?
Is that a woman or a man, Mike?
I can only tell you that I cannot pick somebody up, a woman next to you. Sounds like a woman's name. And just because she's not there doesn't mean she hasn't been. But I can only tell you what I get. If I don't see somebody, I can't describe them. And the people I describe, Shar, how many years have I done this with you? And I'm pretty good at what I do.
I know. Hey, Kate, she says no one comes to mind, thanks. But you know what the issue, Kate, is that you're going out shopping every day. You're out in the world every day. And something may just like your energy and follow you home. Okay,
yeah.
So it could be something like that followed you home, and they're messing with you.
I think so. And just because she's not like a raving beauty, she could just just followed you. I'm not being disrespectful for the spirit if she hears me.
Right.
She unfortunately.
Michael says that Salima is a girl.
Is a girl?
Yeah.
I can't see a woman right next to. If it's a girl, I'm not seeing that right away.
Okay.
I if someone's not stepping forward, let me see clearly.
And bear in mind, Michael, that they come and go as well. So she might be around. My mother is always around me, but there's times when my mother goes elsewhere too, because she goes to see my sister. Or I was going to say my brother, but well, I guess she does in a weird sort of way. But she goes to see my sister or my nieces, and then she'll be back here. So I mean, they do move around.
I'm picking up something I don't know is this gentleman's lady. You ever buy candies and it's a mint, but it's a white, and you put it in your mouth and it melts away? I'm tasting that in my mouth. Someone wants me to know that's a candy. Who are we talking about?
Through the candy dish.
Was that what was in the candy dish?
Yeah, what was in the candy dish, Michael?
I could be Michael's or someone else is listening. Why would I pick up a mint? Yeah. It's not hard. It melts in the mouth. It's white usually. I haven't had.
Does somebody know any relatives that like that kind of candy?
The messages drive me crazy sometimes. And maybe it's an identifier, but I haven't had that candy. I bet you 30 years.
Sometimes with a psychic too, what people have to remember is, like you say, some ghosts will show them to certain psychics, and some ghosts won't. It's like she says, if they come out,
I don't have any control who I see.
It's like that, and that's just how it operates. So sometimes you might have, and it depends on the psychic. Sometimes you might have one psychic that the ghosts don't like at all, and they're not going to communicate with them, and then you'll have somebody else on scene that they love to talk to. It just depends on how the personalities work. So, I mean, she's not going to see everybody.
Every way, and personality is also a lot. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't had too many ghosts tell me they don't like me.
Well, I'm not saying that. It's just sometimes.
No, you know what I mean. Just
depending on your personality, they don't want to. They may want somebody that's more laid back or whatever. I found that on investigations. In fact, when I go on investigations, because I usually have like 5 psychics on staff on my team, meaning psychics. Yeah, and so I will pick and choose, because once I interview the people and get a feel for what they're like, I'll pick and choose which psychic goes out.
Well, that's true. That's true. I have to take that back a little bit, what I just said, because I've done enough of ghost investigations, particularly one in Tucson, Arizona. And I walk in the room because I have such a large energy field. They thought I was telling it to leave. And I said, no, don't let this like me. I'm just here to figure out if you're okay or not. Like the family wants you here if you like to be here. So she was afraid of me. And maybe people are afraid of me because of my energy field. I don't know. What was that answer there? I thought you read something.
Oh, Michael. Michael says the box of candy was empty. That flew across the room. Okay, I just wanted to know. I mean, who knows, okay? But anyway, yeah. So if any of you know of anybody who enjoyed those types of candies that Nancy described, and that's who's there.
That's
Kate
really.
That's a question that says she'd like to know about her future career because she's lost right now.
And what was her first name?
Kate.
I see 2 job changes for you and a possible different area for work or to live. It's like you're going to reach out in a different area to see if you can find a better job. It could be you'll get one job and then it'll promote to something else, or the first one will open a door for something else, But I do see 2 changes for you. And then for some reason, I feel like it's not in your neighborhood or where you would normally look. Be curious what that means, hon. Sometimes we have to go somewhere else. The economy is so changed, and COVID changed jobs.
I've had to change careers. Look what I do. I'm on the radio now. That's what I do.
I tell people I was an engineering supervisor. I walked away from it to be happy to do this. So,
well, even though this is kind of in line with what I normally do, if somebody had told me I was going to be an influencer and a creator on social media, I looked at them and said, "I'm too old and you're nuts." But here I am. Well, so you never know.
I was 42 when I got in this, and I stopped a 24-year career with Pacific Bell of all places, engineering, as a manager, and I walked away from it.
Yeah.
To do this. Don't tell me you're not brave enough to make a change. And I went from a solid, really good career to this. I guess I would say, where's your passion? Because it pays how much. If you have a lot of passion, you work hard at it.
Bud says his childhood home was extremely haunted. A spirit in the garage would open the kitchen door. Is that what you're saying? I think that's what he said. And Kate says, interesting, thank you. May I please ask you Oh, I guess she was in the education. If you see me returning to education in the future.
I wouldn't know that. I mean, you could change it and I wouldn't know. If you're in education, you could be an
Right.
administrative side. If you're
Right.
in education, it could be special needs, which is one-on-one, or a big classroom. I just see two changes, and it could be you start at one school and then move over to another school. But you may have to move further, and that makes more sense because schools aren't next door to each other.
I got a
Yeah.
question for Marisa. This is on
Okay.
behalf of Marisa.
Yes.
Her brother, did he love her? Because I mean, I know there's guys like my dad that don't show it. They love you in your own way, in their own way.
I don't think he had her in his mind very often.
Okay.
I would say if we talked to him in the backyard with a cup of cocoa or tea or something, he may say he had soft feelings from her because they are family. But he probably wouldn't spend the energy. It feels like he was so focused on his own life, they wouldn't go out of his way. So I'm sorry.
Oh no,
And
no, no.
that's how families.
That's why I asked, because I mean, I have that with family, my own family. And Marisa, I didn't mean anything by that question. I was just trying to say it because I know sometimes things get regretted because you don't see other people in your family as much as you'd like.
I think people's lives are just busy.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they don't want to be around you. It's just they're doing their own thing. That's all I wanted to say.
I think when someone passes away, we spend a lot of time wondering what we should have done different. And it's already done. It's gone. So we have to appreciate. The only thing I'm wondering is he is there, and he's all riled up over something. So I would actually talk very nice to him and say, I can't understand you, but give me hold on. Give me a sign. How are we supposed to be able to read someone's mind? Can't do that to a spirit person.
Right.
He's got to be more patient, bring some information to her, get someone to call her up or something. Clearly something's up.
Well, I have my theories on that. So,
when people have accidental deaths and they're not ready. So it's
yeah. Hang on 1 second. Oh, I don't want to be in trouble for that question either. I was, my brother, for what it's worth. What it's worth. Although my brother was living here, although my brother was living in Sacramento, we weren't that close.
He was living with you guys for a while.
We had a lot in common and stuff, but I mean, we really didn't communicate a lot.
I just think life is different than it was 50 years ago. 50, 100 years ago, 2 or 3 generations would live together for decades.
Yeah.
And to make our life work, we have to move and create money and opportunities for ourselves. I have a son that's in Chandler, Arizona, and he went to college there, moved away, and he got another job. Guess where? Chandler, right there where he is. So he had to go where the job was. My other child's in Roseville. So it's like one stayed and one left, but it was all because of work. Just,
that's the thing. Even me, I know I frustrate my sister because I'm not saying I'm not open, but I'm just so busy doing my own thing that I know stuff's going on, but it's like I got other stuff going. You know what I mean? So
you're working your life, hon. You're just feeling guilty for nothing.
I think I frustrate my sister that way. And I think I used to frustrate my brother too because I was like that. And some people are just like that. It's not that we don't love you any less and all this and all that. It's just that we're busy trying to do whatever we're doing. And
I'm going to step back from that also because I have family who live elsewhere. And it seems like life is busy. I guess if I weren't working, if I were truly retired, maybe I would reach out. But when you're working, your work is work and your life is life. And you just don't have a lot of time. And that is a very bad excuse. But they're doing their life and they're happy. I'm not asking them to call me. It takes two directions. So, we're not an Italian family or Mexican families or Japanese families. You have 2 or 3 generations still living together. I don't have a good answer because I think everybody's going to feel guilty no matter what the answer would be.
Mhm. Bud has a
How good as I
question.
get.
Bud has a question. My childhood home was extremely haunted. A rotten, solid, huge hand would reach around the door. Yikes! Like a
What?
giant, maybe woo,
This
maybe
child
Native
mentioned,
American.
can
Get
you?
this. He says he seemed nice, but it felt like someone burned him alive. What do you think? Whoa!
So can you encapsulate that? Because I didn't hear it quite. So
This guy,
there's a,
I'm gonna have nightmares after this.
yeah.
He says my he says my childhood home was extremely haunted. A rotten, solid, huge hand would reach around the door like a giant. He said maybe Native American. Native American. He seemed nice. It felt like someone burned him alive. What do you think?
I'm not going to disagree with you. I believe children, and I've heard some wonderful stories, scary stories, happy stories. I don't know if people can help but to scare somebody if they come in a room like that. Just because I don't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen to you. I'm not going to disagree with your story.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Heck no. I'm the last person. I have stories of my own, and I went, do I dare share this? I don't want people to think I'm nuts. But I worry about is you, because you still remember it. For you, what do you get out of it? And did it bring you comfort? Then that was worth it. Maybe this man liked you. In burn, a lot of people burned to death. And, we had people burned to death at the turn of the century because we didn't have electric lights. We had candles.
Yeah.
And I've heard terrible stories of people who used to have put lit candles in Christmas trees. Did they have a cat or a dog? How many burnt down? Really? Old Victorian, beautiful homes, big tree, lots of candles. I never could figure that one out.
And bad cat. I'm sorry, I've been calling you Bud. That's how blind I am. It's bad. It's bad. I got it. I got you. I just corrected it. Oh, when I was a kid, my house. Look, everybody knows because I've said it over and over on the air how active my house was as a kid, and nobody believed me. So my bedroom, I would see stuff like that all the time, like my bunk beds at night, because I always had a night light on. I would see dark hands reaching down from the top of the bunk heads, like
Oh no!
the top bunk, like it was trying to move and get me. I would see stuff like that all the time. So
it has to be a man whose hands are little. Yeah. Well, your neighborhood's kind of an older neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I imagine before anybody else was there, it was maybe Indian community or, Sutter's Fort was there and all kinds of activity downtown Sacramento. I don't think most people realize that Sacramento was actually very old, 1865, and the water flooded a lot, so they built another layer. So people who are passed away will live down underneath, and you get double the number of spirit peoples around it. I've done some investigations. Really, I go, wow. And
that cat said he seemed like he wanted a friend. I could see that.
Yeah, I can too.
He was probably lonely. I have that. I have one in my dining room who bled to death because this used to be river bottom. So he was fishing and he bled to death. And he's like, Nancy talks about these ghosts that go insane. Well, he's gone insane. So, like, I used to walk past my dining room and see someone trying to jump out and grab me. But you know what? The thing is with him, I have other relatives taking care of him. I'm not worried about it. But the thing is with him, I get the same feeling you do, Bad, is that if this hadn't happened to him and he was just injured and died, that he wouldn't be like he wouldn't be acting like he is, that he would be more friendly than what he is. But because of the situation,
I can get that. He got injured and died from it, not burned because of it.
Yeah.
Being burned and then died. I kind of wonder if that's not more of the story.
So I'm just saying. Here's a question. When people commit suicide, do you believe they really have to do life over?
They want to do life over because they want to fix what they didn't do right. So many people do who are suicides, and a lot of times they come back really quick. So it's like the people I've talked to that were gosh, don't make it sound like I'm strange here. I've talked to people who've committed suicide, and it can go either way. They're so glad to get out of their body that wasn't working, and they take a lot of vacations, or they get out of their body and go, I didn't think that through. I think I'll try that one more time, because it seems like we're given opportunities to choose a life for the experience. And I've had too many clients where they talk of a situation in their past, and I'm seeing this past life and describing it. And they go, how did you know? And I says, you're allowing me to see the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of creepy. You know, I do what I do, everybody. Just don't make any magic here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I do believe in past lives now where I didn't growing up. I don't think I encountered past lives until about 94, 95. 1994, 95. I got in here at 1990. So it was a few years before I even accepted the idea. And then I had to be convinced with the clients that came to me, bringing their children. And the children would say, my life was adults who have nightmares of past lives. And I love all this stuff. It's so fascinating. It seems like a big joke. Why are we living our lives without these truths around us all the time? Why do we have to live our life like in the dark? Wouldn't it be great if everybody could remember at least one past life?
Yes.
You know, like,
Yes.
why did I pick this life?
Yes.
I just wish I would have been someone more important than the ones I've seen already. You know, it's like, oh, the salt of the earth. Here I am digging a hole for for plants or farmer or something. You know. So,
Kate asks, her younger sister often sees a lady spirit at the top of the stairs who smiles at her. Do you know who it might be?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Feels like an era before ours. So
Okay.
the woman is very feminine, very beautiful. I see her in a couple different outfits. I'm not sure if she sees her in a nightgown or a dress. It seems like it's not something that would be a family member. I'd be curious to have her draw a picture, the sister, the little girl,
Mm-hmm.
or give a description. I bet she sees her in a couple different ways. You know, and I don't always know why people show up. And so I finally sold the house on the hill, moved in with my husband, and he, you know, oh boy, moved down here, so maybe I don't keep hearing the spirit that lives with us. And he's just a very, it's just a really interesting story how this spirit showed up. A man, my husband watches the Friday night fights, and he says to me one day, he says, I'm going to offer him a drink. I'm going to give him the drink. And I go, oh. See, my husband has one drink, you know, Friday night. So at the end of the couch, he put a drink out, and I said, did he drink it? He says, I don't know. I hope he appreciated it. He's not a relative. He lived there before us. Oh, gosh. I love this stuff.
Dad says, the guy with the burnt arm, she says he feels, I felt like he didn't want me to see his burned face so he wouldn't scare me. That's why he showed his arm.
Oh, I like that.
That makes sense.
A considerate spirit ghost.
Right.
I don't know he was a ghost because he had conscious thought.
Right.
Spirit people have conscious thought. Some of the ghosts I've encountered, and I haven't been able to talk to them, lose that ability to want to think.
Mm-hmm.
They get stuck. And that's when we have the true haunting, because they get stuck in their emotion, and they don't want to think about it. So they block thinking. So it's not like they're unconscious. They just don't want to. So I think the misconception, oh, a ghost is thinking and it knows it's going to hurt you. Sometimes they're just drastically insane from the years and years and years of being neglected or not solving a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it happens like that. Someone asked me, I said, I think eventually, I did watch the movie called Ghost. And the young man that played the role, he did get an Academy Award nomination. I don't know if he won or not. And he just wore a sheet over his head most of the movie. And I guess he was waiting for his wife to come get him. And after a while, he lost track of time. And they sometimes just stand or wait. It's just an interesting story. I've seen that happen. And I've come across spirits that have become ghouls. And what that means is I was told of them at the time of death. Mm-hmm. And years later, that person has gone insane. These people, 32 years, I have people coming back, and there's murders and death and suicides and natural deaths. And then people touch base. I go, oh my God, what do I tell this person? That relative's gone insane. It's crazy.
Hey, Jerry, I have a question. I have a question for your question. Did you listen to tonight's last show? Because that sounds like your question. Jerry is asking, and I think you'll get a kick out of this, Nancy. I think she watched last night's show.
What was last night?
That had 4,000 past lives.
4,000? I thought it was 88.
Well, he said it was more like 4,000. Since the dinosaur times. He says,
I would sure like to see that diary.
It was an insect, and then, Jerry wants to know how many past lives she's had. I think that's where it came from.
You haven't had as much as everybody else. I'll say the 100% opportunities, you're about 70, 75. Now, how do I do that? Entrance to time, believe it or not, feels to me at the base of your neck. And what I mean by that is when I do readings, when I blend with somebody, I have to enter time to get your reading. And then someone says, how about past life? And all I did was just, how is this possible? I can even do this in the first place. The person themselves want me to see how far back. And it almost feels like the horn of plenty, where you pick up a horn and you listen to the ocean. And depending on how deep the shell is, you can keep listening. That's what I pick up. So it's not like how many lives, it's the multitudes. I listened to some fella, and he seemed like he was pretty smart, dark-haired guy. I can't remember. I watched so many things on this topic. It's crazy. Then I forget who I'm talking to, listen to. And he says, why are we limiting ourselves to this planet? So for 100% past lives, where were they? Were you just thinking, Earth looks like a good experience, I'll maybe try that out? Or were all of them here? I'll tell you a quick funny story. I was living in Sierra Vista for a while, and I also had a job at Tombstone, Arizona, where I met Professor Gary Swartz, and double-blind tested me. It was great, right? Anyway, I was given this class from a learning exchange environment to a bunch of 35, 40 men. There was a couple men there. And I have this little thing I can do. And I'm actually, it's really fun. I can do a whole group. It's really fun. Had them gone, boom, right? And then I thought, I think I'll just step into a few of them. And to my right, there was like 4 or 5 ladies, and I picked one of them, and she was washing herself as a caveman or woman. And I felt from her astonishment, like she didn't know how to grapple. She was clearly in her 70s or 80s, and she didn't know how to accept that. Like, is that the life that is so determined? Why I picked this life? Is that personality important to me here? And I often say that if you get a past life today, it's because what's happening today. Like with Char, when I did a past life regression on her, I could see where she was going. Char was very unusual because she didn't visually see it. She would felt it. And I could see. So I had to prompt it. It was kind of crazy. But this woman was visual, and she saw this, And I went. So when it was all over, I just turned to the side and I says, okay, I was going to see if she was going to volunteer. Which one were you, or a caveman? And she raised her arms up. How do you know? I didn't like that. And I says, honey, it means you've been around a really long time, and they wanted you to know that. For her, that was the answer she needed, because it astonished her. She didn't like that. Can you imagine feeling the inside of a caveman, and it's grunging around and trying to live? She really felt, it was a great story. Yet, the other day, and there's somebody listening, I think. And I went to her one time. I went, oh my gosh, it just went on and on. I says, oh my God, you're such an old soul. I couldn't get to the end of her storyline. So where someone might have 1,000, someone had 2,000, she had 100,000 lives. Wow. I'm exact 50,000, 20. Who's to know? When did spirit originate? And how many planets have we been to? And do we ever get tired of doing this? Well, I went to a channeling session with a group of people. And the lady sitting right in front of me, she looks at the channel and she says, can you explain why I can't get along with people? Well, the kind, wonderful lady said, you are a Highlander in Scotland, and you didn't like people. That's not the answer I got. And people say, do you ever watch other psychics? I go, no. And this is the reason. Right in front of me, I never ask. And I watch a show on TV, or I watch other psychics. I do, oh, no, I don't want to hear. She turned into a big old flame. And I went, oh. And a friend of mine named Karen was sitting next to me. And I said, Karen, are you seeing this? She's very intuitive. She says, okay, Nancy, what are you looking at? Well, the minute she questioned why she couldn't get along with people, well, she wasn't a person last time. How are you going to relate to human beings if you were a flame before? What kind of existence is that? Mm-hmm. And it was so telling. Now, I think the channeler, how fast you can get an answer. I don't even want answers, and I get answers. You just, and there it is. And I looked at her and went, I told Karen, I says, I think I'm going nuts. I can't believe I'm seeing a flame. Like, you ever see a gas flame that's not lit? It's blue. That's what it looked like. Like a flame that's blue. And I'll never forget it. Just watch your eyes. I'm remembering. I can see a visual of her just thinking about it. It just actually just stunned me. It's like the lady who saw herself as a caveman and she didn't want to. She go, I don't know. Here's this beautiful older woman, just dainty with jewelry on and pearls around her neck, and she sees herself as a grungy old caveman. She probably wanted to see if she was a Victorian lady of this, not the streets, a Victorian lady going to a ball or something. It wasn't what she was supposed to see. Sorry, everybody.
Here's a cool question. How come some spirits stay here on the earth plane rather than crossing to the other side?
Unfinished business 99% of the time. Unhappy because they didn't finish their life right. From suicide to accidental death. Sometimes people have someone greet them and they're overtaken with love and compassion. They'll go. And then I see them in some sort of recovery, and it could from days, weeks, months, years. A lot of people go to a funeral, even if they don't accept it. Their relatives come and say, you need closure. Then there's people, and I almost said the name. So this individual died accidentally. Heart just gave out. And unfortunately, he couldn't accept it. So he went from a living person to a conscious spirit. And after a couple of years, he went insane. Who's determined? How come we're not individual? How many people have said, I should be insane for what I went through? How many times have we said that? And I've said the same thing. Like, God, I must have rocks in my belly or something. I feel like I should have gone over the edge a few times like everybody else. And it never happens. It's just a personality thing. Maybe someone who's anxious in life, unhappy, and then they're accidentally killed or they're murdered by accident, or but they're murdered. Can you imagine the turmoil? Like, I was going to fix that, everybody. I mean, can I get back in? Mm-hmm. Accidental deaths. My father was killed by a drunk driver, and they try to blame it on him because the men that killed him were Korean War heroes. They had been partying. All three were drunk. My father wasn't drunk. He was coming home from working to his wife and two little girls. We were 5 and 6 years old. And they tried blaming on him because he wasn't a war hero. They were. So can you imagine them dying, and they had come back as heroes, and they don't get to live that hero life? My father came back to me. It was the first time I'd ever seen a spirit. I was 6 years old. And I told my grandmother, and she recorded day after day. Every time I talked to him, I talked to him again. It wasn't like garbage. She said, oh, yeah, I can hear. Yeah, oh, yeah, he used to say that too. It is what it is.
Jill has a question. How do you direct ghosts or lost souls home or crossover?
Thank you. If you feel like the feeling of desperation, haunting feeling like, oh, I'm so lost. So we dealt with this recently, Shar and I talked to somebody, and the female was so despondent that she died, that she clung to the first person she could. And I told the person, and I felt so passionate with this. I said, you really need to talk to her in a quiet moment when you feel her revving up, and you want to be sympathetic, you want to be calm, you want to say her name softly and say, you don't need this anymore. You can have a happier life. And they don't get it unless you talk to them, because that female that we were talking to is on the verge of becoming a ghost. They're losing touch with reality. And sometimes just sympathy. I'm so sorry that happened to you, because they will hear you if you say it enough, and they'll wake up. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be there. Sometimes people like me can grab them and push them away, but they'll come back because your vibration has lowered to a level they recognize as home. So if I said to somebody, why, you have a ghost? I don't know what's going on. So they pulled you down. Well, fight to pull you up. Go watch Laurel and Hardy movies, or Dick Van Dyke or Lucille Ball or something. Laugh a lot. I don't even know who the comedians are nowadays. I'm older. But so you need to laugh a lot and be happy, because that makes them curious. Then they go, oh, what's going on here? Then you can talk to them. If you can identify them, you say, hey, guy, What's going on with you? Wake them up. Like do it in the car when you're parking the driveway. I do a lot of praying or talking to the universe in the car because no one's bothering me.
Mhm.
You can put your brain on automatic and drive a straight line to, be conscious of that. But I find a lot of peace in the car, and I love to drive because I can talk to people. And it seems like I've always got a passenger or two, So
I've
compassion is number one.
I crossed a few over myself during investigations, and there's different techniques to doing it, like what Nancy's talking about. Generally, somewhere when you die and you're roaming around, that white light Sylvia Brown used to say that the other side was 3 feet away from you.
Well, it's close to that.
It's always someplace really near you, and that bright light. It's kind of like in the movie Ghost. You know how when Patrick Swayze's ready to go and the light shows up in the sky, up in the ceiling, and it appears in different positions in a room.
Absolutely.
And when you're talking with a ghost that's lost in a house, something happened. I'll give you a good example of what happened in Woodland, on this Woodland investigation in a second. But you can pretty much direct them that way. And a lot of them, some of them aren't inclined to go. However, the way I do it is usually there's family members that went before them.
Yeah, there's
So
always
I would call the family members to they don't cross over, but they get within the light where the deceased can see them. And then I do it that way. Hey, your mother's over there. She's waiting for you. You go over there. You love your mother, right? Yes, I adore my mother. Can you go over there, take her hand, and she'll take you through? Or I'll call on one of my relatives to help. Sometimes that helps too. You
have to get their attention.
Yeah, you get their attention, and
you have to get their attention. And if they don't recognize somebody, it has to be someone that gets their attention.
Yeah. So I'll do that too to get them to cross over.
And sometimes it's someone they liked. I had a lady. I was talking to a lady, and the woman that was going to greet the relative was a neighbor who cooked them chocolate chip cookies, and so this person saw that neighbor all the time. It could be it could be a relative, it could be a best friend, it could be a dog.
Yeah, it could be a dog even. My dad saw a dog. This case we all worked on it with it. Nancy worked on it too. Nancy does remote work for me, and Trish, our lead field psychic, was out on this case with us, and we were in this little room, and we were talking to this gentleman. We realized that there was a poltergeist thing going on in the house, but there was also this other entity in the house, and we couldn't figure out where he fit in. And it finally hit me one day, and this particular ghost was afraid of the father of the house because the father of the house was so upset. His energy was so chaotic that he was causing poltergeist activity.
Oh.
And remember that one? That was the one.
I'm getting it, yeah.
Yeah, and so he was defending. He was there to defend the two boys that lived in the house. Anyway, as I get through this, we're in this little room with Trish, and Trish. I never really saw Trish do any channeling. She did this night, and she was talking to him. And as she's talking to him, I'm asking questions to get the answers from this guy. And it turns out before that house was there was another house there, and he burned the house down. But he didn't realize that his mother was in the house at the time.
I've heard these.
And he was really, really upset. That's why he wouldn't leave. And then when he saw these two boys being accosted by the poltergeist, that's why he stayed to fight back and forth, with the father. So anyway, Trish is standing there. We're asking questions, and according to Trish, the wall opens up. There's the light. His mother's in the light. So we're talking him through, and Trish said, "Well, you can take my hand, and I'll help you go through." And at that point, Trish stood up. She was in a trance. She completely stood up out of the chair.
Oh my gosh!
And she was. We were talking him through. And I said, "Okay, let's lead him to the left so he goes through the light." And we were all in this trance. I watched Trish lift up out of this chair. She turned to the left, and when he entered the light, because his mother was there, we had to convince him that she forgave him and all this, because that was part of the thing too. He didn't think that they would forgive him for what he did.
And a lot of them are afraid.
Yeah.
Of where they're going.
Yeah. So Trish lifts up out of this chair. She turns to the left, and when he went through the light, he let go of her hand, and she fell back in the chair.
Wow!
Completely released.
I remember the story, but I forgot what happened.
Yeah. So he crossed over. He went. And the first thing I ask when you hear the audio, you say, when you hear me go, Trish, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But Trish was completely in a trance. She had no idea she had even stood up when she was walking him
It
through.
overtakes you.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you do it. And sometimes you have to get in a big circle. It takes a lot of energy sometimes to get them to cross over. So you'll see paranormal groups get into a big circle to cross people over too. There's different ways to do it, but each way it's like, you know, a lot of the majority of the time is sometimes they're afraid to cross over, or they're too connected to something here. But then the idea is to get them with their family. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you can say something like, "Who do you miss the most?"
Yeah.
Because
Who
that
you miss the
person would
most?
be the one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the person they miss will show up at the end at the entrance to whatever you want, heaven or whatever you want to call it, and they usually beckon the person over to help them cross
Well,
over.
if you ask them who they miss most,
Yeah.
it's because that's was the person was going to grieve in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Do you miss your mom? You miss your mom? How about your dad?
Yeah.
And it's not always easy talking to spirit people because I keep thinking I'm going to talk about something I was going to mention. So in Folsom, I did a ghost investigation. It was a long time ago. It was somebody who was known in the community, and I went into the house, and oh my God, they had a couple. Excuse me, they had a couple spirits there, and the spirit was saying, "I like the lady and I have something in common. Our mothers just died." And of course, I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to be really right or really wrong." And she had been grieving, and this spirit found her grieving because she had just lost her mom. So the spirit had lost her mom, but it had been a while back, but she couldn't get over it. So she found a like-minded sufferer.
Mm-hmm.
See how that works? So even though you don't want to grieve, if you feel like there's somebody else around you, they could be grieving too. Again, a lot of sympathy, compassion, curiosity. Tell me a story. Tell me what happened. If you can pick up anything. Well, Char, we're getting an hour here.
Well, Bad has a message about the guy that was burned.
Pardon me? The guy
Bad
what?
says sometimes he would put on a Halloween glove to cover his hand so he would appear less frightening. How sweet! That was
Wow.
the one the Native American with the burned hand.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, so she saw him create the glove.
Yeah.
Sometimes the hand, oh, I didn't mean this. So he would create. That's why spirit people look so different at times. Sometimes they show up to me like really old because that's how people saw them last.
Right.
Or they'll say, I don't want to be seen like that. Yeah. And they'll go way down to an early age and people think, God, I can't remember what that person looked like. And then that's because what they do is they find a picture in the house or they remember a picture being taken, and they'll create that look. So when you go looking, you'll see them that way. Oh, I know who that was. I just saw a picture. That happens a lot.
A couple more questions, and then we got to wrap this up, guys. Next question is, when we cross over, where are we going?
It's a breath away. It's a breath away. It's just a different vibration. It's amazing to me the number of people who stick around just for a while, and then they travel a lot. It's amazing how many people say, someone asked about the father, and I said, oh, he's really far away. And then recently, like another country, just really far away. And just recently, I want to share a show. A woman talked about her daughter who had died. And I said, she's really far away, like in Japan. Well, I think I have past life there. I'm kind of connected to Japan. So, and she says, oh, that's curious you would say that because she was born in Japan. And I said, well, she's visiting Japan, probably finding the area that you guys were living. They go back, and I would too. At my age, I forgot what my father looked like. He was very tall and very thin, over 6 foot, but I'm forgetting his face. So I will go back in time to that days before he left. So I could just see him. So we travel in time as vacationers also. Can you go in future? I haven't done it, but I know people who have told me they have. It's all accessible from spirit. I don't know how they do it. Let me put it this way. It's crazy that I can do what I do. It's nuts to think I do it all the time. Think how easy it must be for them. I'm a piece of meat, muscle, gooey on these bones, and this is my vehicle. Yet I can do this stuff like this. So if I can do it, can you imagine not having the confines of the flesh? How exciting to be able to travel and do anything you want. My husband aligns himself with the Westerns. Yes, he's of the age where TV shows are Westerns his favorite. But we were in Tombstone, Arizona area, and he felt like we had a past life there, and that's why we were connected so easily. Now he was raised on a ranch, but in the 80s, I rode and I was a long distance runner and a person who owned a horse and did races. So I was very, very connected with the horses, but our vibration connected. So that happened like 5, 6 months back that this was reminded. And what reminded me of that, him telling me, because it was 07, 08 that we lived there, is I had a flash of myself as a young man on a horse. You know, the youth grows really fast and they're all skin and bones. I had a checked shirt on and I was on a brown horse. I went, oh, for heaven's sakes. I knew it wasn't me in this life. And so I had a flash. I went, maybe that's what Larry picked up, is that he and I recognized each other from a past life. I think that's fascinating.
Jill says that she had, let's see, she feels like the house she lived in, the man who owned it before is still there. She'd like him to leave. You know, Jill, in some cases, if you don't feel like he is like being nasty or aggressive, that's your house. So you need to take charge of your house. If you don't want him there, let him know that.
That's absolutely true.
He doesn't belong there.
It depends on how receptive you are to that.
Yeah.
I've told this story on the air and it just popped in my head again, so I'll tell it again. So this lady calls me and she says, we have a problem with the ghost. Really? Tell me about it. I'm all excited, right? Oh, she has a 9-year-old daughter who's spirit, like the ones we talked about tonight, spirit come in and scare these young people. And I asked the little girl, tell me about your bedroom. And she just went on and how beautiful it was. Mama did a beautiful job. It was all purple and pink and flowers and lace or whatever. I says, do you love your bedroom enough to make it yours? So I was, yeah. I said, well, why are you letting that man come in? You stand in front of that closet before he comes out. If he shows up, you put your hands on your hips and you yell at him, don't you come in my room. I don't want you in here. And mother called me back and said, about third night in a row, she hasn't had the problem. He left. He wasn't invited. He tried to be invited. Now, my husband and I have this ghost because he had the original home 35 years ago. But my husband's liking it. He kind of gets a kick out of it. And he walks through the man sometimes, but I think the other night, about 2 weeks ago, he said, I'm trying to watch the fights, yet I can feel him and hear him walking next to me. I says, does it bother you? He says, just as long as he doesn't mess with me. I says, one time I was watching the fights and the guy sits down the other end of the couch. I says, how do you know? He said, I looked over and I could see the impression going down, the cushion going down. I'm like, well, that would even get my attention. I'm like, come on. But Larry's really a calm man, very calm. And he just lets it go. He's like watching it. He's like, I'm so amused. If you can be amused, you can survive it. If you can survive it, make it a story. I live with a ghost. Can you say that? Share it with people. You know, there's so many people out there afraid of life. It's because they're afraid of death. What if we all knew we were going to live forever? And, you know, different garments. Wouldn't it be fun to share a story that you live with a ghost? I live with a ghost. Actually, right here in this house I'm moving out of, there's a couple. One is a little pioneer girl. And Larry saw it first, and I went, so then I thought, well, maybe I better pay attention. And sure enough, I saw her walk by. She had a dress with a big white apron, and she had a white cap that goes on like this. She just, it wasn't near our house that they massacred. We had a lot of Indians in Hornbeck, Wairika area. And there was, unfortunately, some Indian massacres. So she might have been part of that. Why is she still around? Who knows? Maybe, who knows? I can't even conjecture. But someone comes in and shares your couch watching the fights with you, go for it. I love it.
But again, Jill, yeah, if you're at that out of it, you can demand that he leave. I mean, my neighbors used to laugh because I would come home from an investigation and I can tell what ghosts are here and which ones are not the ones from here. So my neighbors would laugh. Yeah, because I would open up all the windows and I'd be yelling out the windows. Get out of my house. You don't belong here. Go. So you have the power to do that at your house. One more question down here, and this is kind of a fun question, and I'm not taking anything away from Kyle. And Kyle says, where would one find ghosts? I've never in my 40 years on Earth experienced anything remotely close to being something remarkable or questionable. Is there a place I can experience this phenomenon, or am I missing out on this?
You just haven't put your mind to it. I would say something like get some books, watch some movies. And this is I've been sitting too long. Everybody. So when I was living in Sierra Vista, I had an office in Tombstone. So I drive my car, going across was half hour. And right on the way, they had big signs, archaeology dig. Guess what they were digging up? Dinosaurs. And I thought to myself, oh, that was something I wanted to do. Of course, 2 years we were there, we didn't get to. And then the recession hit, so we had to move. But in some ways, I started thinking about dinosaurs. I mean, how many days do you think of dinosaurs a week, right? I started thinking a lot about dinosaurs because I'd drive by every day and you could see the dig. You could see that there were just big things going on. And I thought, it must be a big dinosaur. I hope. Wouldn't that have been fun? I never found out. But anyway, where we were living, the view opened up to the corridor going into Mexico. So it was a mountain range on each side. So it was a corridor where all the storms came through. It was a view of lifetime. You know, I'm really upset with the recession when it hit. It hit everybody hard. And we were one of the victims of it. And that was all. You know, it was a brand new house. So we just couldn't do it. Anyway, I was in the kitchen looking out the window. My husband's behind watching TV. And I stood really still. And I was like, stoic. Like, he got up and he came over and he looked at me. He says, are you okay? Maybe I was in a trance or something. And I was looking out the window. Guess what I was looking at? One of those great big dinosaurs that eats the leaves on the trees. The very first views of dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were the ones with the the legs were stoves, you know, big barrel looking, big necks. I never saw above the shoulders. Even at a distance coming this way, I thought, how's it possible I would see a dinosaur ghost? You know why? Because I was thinking about it. And so my mind opened up to the possibility. That's all it takes is expose yourself. I had a lady talk to me when I was having a difficult time accepting this. And it was overwhelming because all of a sudden I had people want to talk to me all the time. And I was like, engineering supervisor, they don't talk. And I tell people, this is not easy to talk when you're not a natural talker. I get tired. So what she told me was read everything you could on people who do it similar to you and their anxiety and their stress of becoming you, your same abilities. So Eileen Garrett, I read a book of her and I identified with her in her struggle. She didn't want the gift. She didn't like it. And I says, if she doesn't like it, it's okay that I don't. But I'll become what I am good at. I will do this. And I've learned to love it, love it. And by reading books on other people's life experiences or how to do it will open you up to be able to do it. My feeling is that you sense things around you. You don't know what it is. I think you're sensing spirit people. Mm-hmm. Like maybe they're made out of a piece of glass that wavers. You can't see through it. You can just feel the energy of it. So I think your perception's there. You just haven't turned that energy on to be able to feel them. I can see them with my eyes, but most of the time I'm seeing with my inside eyes. I join with people. I go into a room. I back out a little bit, but I give them enough of my life force. That's why it's tiring. It gives them a little boost so they can give me what they look like. That doesn't explain why I can see people walking across the church. On the other side, I went to Catholic church. And for a while after I got married, we did go to Catholic church because my husband's family was Catholic. And you just watch spirit people walk around to the living people. I thought, what's that about? You know, and it's because they were there sucking up the energy of the people in the aisles on the other side. They didn't need mine. Mm-hmm. So when you're investigating and you're around people, you may get tired and have no explanation. They're trying to boost their life force so you could see them or feel them. So you need to expose yourself to that. And I think you may be surprised. Feels like you're more perceptive than you realize. Okay, girlfriend, let's do this.
Over an hour. I mean, we could go on forever with this stuff. Because I thank you guys for
love this.
Now, Monday, we're going to have Bruce Genvy is going to be on with us. And he's going to be talking about ghosts and legends of the Great Lakes.
Ooh.
So that's going to be cool. Sunday, I'll be back at 6. Like always, we're going to be reading out of the Lizzie Borden book. I'm getting senile. And
Don't do that.
in answer to your
Younger
question,
than I am.
yes, in fact, after I take my dinner break tonight, I'm going to post more information about my psychic development classes on the radio website at CaliforniaHauntsRadio.com. I haven't had a chance to do that this week, but I will do it tonight as soon as I have my hour dinner break, and I'll have it up. So you check it out in about another hour and a half, and I'll have it up on the site for you. Thank you guys. It's been really fun.
I like this too.
If you like the show, be sure to share it with your friends. You know, we want to get more and more people watching it. It's not always about psychic abilities. It's about different topics. You know, we have multiple topics over on the YouTube site. And you can check those, if you want to check more of the videos out, go to CaliforniaHauntsRadio.com. That will take you over to the YouTube site. You can get in there. Yeah. Like I said, if you liked it, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. If you're watching from Facebook, please follow. If you're watching from, I'm starting to move my hands. I'm around you too much. If you're watching, Nancy moves her hands a lot. If you're watching,
dude, you can't always see it.
I'm doing it right now. Let me take this down real quick. Okay. See, you can see me move my hands. So if you're watching from Facebook, be sure to follow. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Down in the bottom right-hand corner is that little ghost with the magnifying glass and the Sherlock Holmes hat on. That's our little mascot. And if you go out to the YouTube site again, it's not all about the paranormal. There's other topics on there. We cover spousal abuse. We cover criminal. I mean, we cover all kinds of stuff. So I think you guys will find there's something over there for everybody. If you're watching from Twitter, if you can't subscribe on Twitter, well, subscribe to California Haunts Twitter. You can do that. But if you're watching from Twitch, please follow. If you're watching from TikTok, please follow. And again, subscribe from YouTube. But I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I am off tomorrow. I will see you guys Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And if you see that thing flashing down on the bottom, that's because California Haunts doesn't take money to investigate. We never have, we never will. And so sometimes, I'm trying to support the show. This is all I do. I'm a journalist. This is what I do. So I'm trying to support the show, support the team with equipment, buy equipment for the show and everything. If something dies, it comes out of my pocket. I can use a little help sometime, pay for the internet, keep this thing going. I love doing this. I didn't think I was going to be on this long, to be honest. It was month to month because I thought, man, I don't know if we're going to have enough funds to do this. But we've been very fortunate. We've had donors that have helped us out, and it's because of you. I sound like KVIE now, but it's because of you donating. I've been able to stay on the air. Simple, And
thank you, everybody who has so far. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's been really amazing. So if you can help me out, that'd be great because I want to keep this thing going. It's a good thing. YouTube shows us no love, and the more we're on, they got to show us some love. In fact, this month we're looking at adding at least 200 more downloads this month that we're going to have for our podcast version. So I'm really excited about that. Every month the numbers go up, the people that see the show. But anyway, if you could help me out, that would be great at paypal.me at California Haunts or Venmo, and then just type in California Haunts. That would be great. But again, Jill, in answer to your question, give me about an hour and a half, and I'll have more information about the classes and stuff over on the California Haunts radio site. And if you want to visit my paranormal group, that's CaliforniaHaunts.org, and the radio is CaliforniaHauntsRadio.com. Anyway, I will see you guys. In fact, I'm going to let you see Nancy's info, and then I will see you guys Sunday. So here's Nancy's info. Dun-dun. There we go. NancyMatz.com. Nancy Matz author with the M and A capitalized.com. YouTube.com/Nancy Matz Psychic. She's got some books out. One is Help Get Me Out of This Funk, Nancy Matz. Two Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills, Nancy Matz. And The Unwilling Sacrifice. Great book. I've read it. Good stuff. And they're all available on Amazon. Okay, guys. Well, I will see you guys on Monday. On Sunday. Whoops. Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. See you then. Have a good couple days.
See you next